In this video, I want to answer the question, what is project scope? Project scope is in some ways the easiest thing to define in project management. But it is also in many ways the hardest thing to agree. Negotiating the scope of your project for me is right at the heart of good project management, but it's also the toughest challenge we'll face as project managers. The easiest way to define project scope is with this simple picture. Everything inside this circle represents the scope of your project. The scope of your project is everything that you have to do as a project manager, or put another way, everything that you need to deliver. Everything outside of the circle is out of scope. You don't have to do it. These are things that are either not economically viable, not needed by the organisation, or perhaps will be delivered by other projects at other times. So if everything inside the circle is in scope and everything outside the circle is out of scope, sometimes called project exclusions or exclusions from scope, what's the issue? The issue, of course, is stakeholders trying to feed additional functionality into your scope, therefore extending the scope boundaries without necessarily increasing your resources or your budget or your schedule to allow for you to deliver them. This is known as scope creep. So why is negotiating scope so difficult? Well, the answer is simple. Because you've got many stakeholders, and each of them has different preferences, different needs, different wants, different desires. They have different agendas and different interests. And the process of negotiating scope is negotiating against all of those competing pressures, trying to satisfy this person and that person at the same time, and all of this with a limitation on the resources you have available. So it's a multi-way negotiation with different stakeholders trying to negotiate and balance among their different needs and desires. And of course, with other stakeholders negotiating for additional resources or additional time in order to deliver the greater amount of scope. Consequently, you won't please everybody. Your job as a project manager is to find the best balance that you can to satisfy and smooth over the concerns of as many stakeholders as you can, and to get it signed off by those stakeholders who have the ultimate authority to decide what the final scope will be, what the final budget will be, and how long you have to deliver it. So scope is an easy concept, but negotiating it and documenting it and making it stick and winning over your stakeholders at the same time is a tremendously difficult challenge. For me, the very hardest we face as project managers.